Okay, so how are rental properties priced and marketed, essentially? What is the standard for finding out what they go for? Do you run comps on them, and then where are they listed? So run me through kind of like pricing a rental and the marketing for it.
Absolutely. So for those who are unfamiliar with the way realtors do CMAs, comparative market analysis, things like that, realtors, when buying or listing a home rather, will compare that home to other homes in the area with similar features, similar age, a number of variables that go into it, and find that sweet spot of the price for that home. We do a very similar thing when it comes to listing a rental. We run comparative comps and find what is in the area, see what properties, okay, these are other 3-bedroom, 2-bath, approximately 1,500 square foot rental properties.
Yep.
And they're all within this range. And so we find that range, we can dial it down a little bit more. If this property has granite countertops and stainless steel appliances, it's going to get a little bit more per month, typically.
Yep.
Location is huge as well, and that's one thing that we find a lot of investors don't really take into account when purchasing a property, is they're not really thinking of what that neighborhood is doing as far as rentals go.
Yeah.
So that can play a huge part of things and is a big surprise, sometimes to the positive, sometimes to the detriment. And all that has to be taken into account when pricing it. But we approach it the same way that realtors do on
With
listing
comps,
properties.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. And it helps that you're a realtor too, so you know
Absolutely.
how to do that and what that's like.
Exactly.
Too, so.
Exactly. Cool. And we also do tend to price towards the higher part of that spectrum. And what we've done with most of our landlords or investors, and what tends to work really well, is we'll price it a little bit higher just to start off with, give it a week or two and see what the interest level is.
Yep.
Because we hate to price it where we think the sweet spot is. We have 30 applications the first day and we realize
too low.
We could have gotten $200 more a month for it.
Yep.
So we always try to get our investors the best return for their money, of course.
Yep.
And
I do like how it's set up where there's incentive for both you and the landlord to have a higher price and to do well on the property, because you both get paid more if it does well. Yeah. It bothers me when the incentives aren't in the right place with that. You should make more if you do a good job. I think so. That's great.
Yeah.
It's simple.
Yeah, and it's win-win for everybody.
Yes,
so that works out well. As far as marketing properties go, we can use and leverage some of the same tools. There are certain marketing platforms that, of course, do much better than others. We use the Zillow trifectas, Zillow, HotPads, and Trulia, and that's one of the core marketing places that we always start off with. Depending on a landlord's needs, depending on the area, the location, etc., we can pull in some Facebook Marketplace marketing. That's a little trickier, and we tend to find that with classified ads, Craigslist, things like that, that a lot of people who are self-managing tend to rely on. Those don't provide as quality of leads for us.
For obvious reasons, yeah. I feel like that, yep.
Exactly. And so Zillow and those platforms tend to also have built-in applications and a number of tools that just allow us to streamline the process.
Cool. What is typically done if a property's listed but there's no bites? Do you then lower the price until there's interest, or are there more places to list, or what do you do? It's just probably something that's inevitable to happen in a downtime of renting or
Absolutely. There are certain elements like that. Like, we live in Minnesota. Nobody wants to move basically
middle of winter.
November through February is a low point every year.
Yep.
And it's incredibly hard to find tenants no matter how well your property is priced, because there's 2 feet of snow outside, driveways are icy, nobody wants to pull a moving truck into that.
Yep.
So there are certain elements like that we always try to be upfront with our investors who are coming on board during those times, and just make sure that expectations are in the right place.
Awesome.
And from there, we kind of work it on a case-by-case basis, and we'll talk to the investor and say, okay, how aggressively do you want us to market it? Obviously, every month that goes by that it's vacant is income lost, both for us and them. And so we have a plan going into it where we say, okay, if after 2 weeks we haven't gotten any bites, obviously we're a little bit high or the market's completely dead.
Yep.
And we need to account for that somehow. And so do we lower the price? Do we provide an incentive up front where maybe we keep the price the same, but we give a half month or a month free to get somebody in there?
Yes, incentives for the tenants to rent. Yeah,
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things and a lot of strategies that we can use to market it there. And at that point, we can also get a little bit more aggressive and put some Facebook ads out if it seems necessary.
Yep.
And we always start low on the advertising side to save on everybody's budget. But if it makes sense, we can certainly put some paid ads out there and get some.
As more of a
get some
last
more
resort,
activity.
right?
Exactly.
If it's not, yeah. If it's not
Exactly.
filled, so when a property is listed, there's usually photos with it, maybe a video walkthrough or of some sort. How do you prevent there being, or you having to do like a million different showings of like, I want to see the place?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you know, technology has come a long way as far as properties go, and now we have not only still photos and even cell phones that can take pretty good still photos,
Oh, yeah.
but we have 3D cameras, we have virtual tours, we have drone footage, we have all sorts of tools at our disposal, and it's great to be able to leverage those to really market the place as well. And give prospective tenants that first touch, the first eyes on the property, and so that they know what they're coming to see, and it's not just like a blurry photo of a back bedroom that they've seen and they don't know what the rest of the place looks like. So that's an area where I think we do better than most in the industry as far as marketing that with those photos. We've got a team of our own people that go in and take full listing photos. The average property has probably 20 to 25 listing photos.
Okay.
And then we will oftentimes, and it depends on the property, depends on a number of variables, but we will oftentimes do a virtual tour or a 3D tour. If it's a real high-end property, we may do some drone work with it as well.
Crazy.
We have those capabilities, and so it really comes down to the property. And if we're taking over a property that already has a tenant in there, they've already got their furniture and stuff, we're not going to be intrusive taking photos of every nook and cranny. We're going to do what we can while being sensitive to the privacy of that tenant. So there are some variables in play, but we definitely leverage photo, video, and media to the max.
Which would be attached to the listing. So
Those are
prospective tenants could be looking around and see photos of it, a video walkthrough, or something of some sort. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Since both Robert and I actually play drums, it was part of how we met. He happened to have 2 different drum kits at this rental property when we shot these videos, so here's a little treat. Let's go. That's it.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Robert Stye, Abide Realty.
Matt Gusmer with Mission Real Estate Group. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully this was helpful information. You're now a smarter investor. Peace.